Hello everyone, my name is Karl and welcome to the list review for our upcoming game, Slave to Darkness against Sons of Behemat. Today I am playing their Army of Renown, Legion of the First Prince, so you can mix a lot of different demons. It's a lot of fun and it just gives you a lot of options and I like it lore-wise. I have no battle formation then because it's the Army of the Renown, and I have 2 regiments. In my general's regiment I have 3 Varanguards, I have a unit of 20 Bloodletters, I have 3 Fiends, and then I have a 6 unit of Flamers, and Be'lakor himself of course. And my second regiment is in Eternus on his horse and 2 6s of Furies. And that's the army. It's a very nice army. I don't have any heroic traits or artifacts because I have 2 named heroes. So, and they're not really that good, you know, in all honesty. They don't seem good, at least I haven't tried them, but they don't seem... Eternus with his potentially coming back from the dead and so on feels a lot better. The spell lore that I'm running is the Primal energy. Basically, mostly because I love the jaws, and then also the Emerald Life Swarm is very nice on Be'lakor, being unrenderable with 14 health. Healing him is, really great. The army itself, it plays it plays the long game for sure. The Furies are just amazing. They can, if you get the 3+, they're amazing at least. But then Be'lakor can bring them back if they die. Twice, both units for a command point in this Legion of the First Prince. Basically every demon unit can come back for a command point when they die, half their strength, which is so impactful. So you're playing the long game in that sense that you don't have the craziest amount of output, like you don't do insane damage. Bloodletters, sure, they can do quite a bit of damage, but you're not downing a Gargant in a turn unless you commit your entire army. So you're playing the long game because stuff can come back and stuff is quite tanky, and with the ward it's hard to wither through. The Bloodletters in the Legion of the First Prince, you have the ability that is board wide from Be'lakor, that you can just pick a unit. If it's a demon unit, they get an extra save and 5 to their control score increase, and that's just so good on the Bloodletters getting an extra save. If I do it on a non-demon unit, they get a 6+ ward, I think it is, which is also great. And other than that, Be'lakor spells himself Enfeeble Foe, -2 hit, and shuts down critical, also really good, especially against destruction, but against a lot of things. -1 to hit is just very, very impactful. And ignoring crits, you know, if it's crew boys, you just stop all their mortals or something like that. It's a very good spell, and it's only casting value 6, which feels very strong. And then of course you have Be'lakor's once per battle to just stop something, which also is very impactful. So this army is very nice to cast with. There's a lot going on. You can kind of dictate like how you cast a move because the Furies do so much for you. Like if you're gonna go, I think the list would struggle against heavy, like armies that are really good with shooting, that can kill your Furies easier. Maybe like Lumineth would be a hard counter, or because the Bloodletters, they just do mortal damage, so they don't really care that much about -2 hit essentially, because you're trying to fish for those 6s. But any shooting, I think you will struggle because the save is so bad. You are though quite fast because you have a D6 move spell, so you can potentially get in and like hold up the shooting. But I think generally like a hard shooting, like Kurnoth Hunters, bows in Sylvaneth, I think will be very hard. But any kind of melee list, I think this Legion of the First Prince has advantage, because we can really do that trade-off. We don't do much damage, but they slowly kill us, but then we just come back for a command point from Be'lakor, where he's moving around on the table, you know, and he puts up a unit wholly within 12 of him. So it's for sure playing the long game. So if that's what you enjoy, if you enjoy like really doing those 5 turns, really thinking about positioning and potentially blocking battle tactics, etc., I think this will be an army for you, definitely. Is it a 5-0 list on the tournament? No, definitely not. I think there's too many armies that counter it, and well, too many armies that are better. 3-2, I think you could probably quite comfortably go if you know how the army works. Otherwise, I think if it's just like you're rolling the army for fun, I think 2 wins and 3 losses in a 2-day tournament should not be a problem, I think, for this army, definitely. But it's not a 5-0 list, but it's a lot of fun to play. I hope you're enjoying our battle report coming up. It's great fun. It's very intense. A lot of things happen. A lot of dice rolls going either direction. And yeah, stay around for the list review of Tom's Sons of Behemat. See you later.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Hops and Drops TV. My name's Tom, and I'm going to run you through my Sons of Behemat army that I'm playing today. I'm playing the Taker tribe, and that allows me to, at the beginning of the game, choose an additional artifact to give to one of my Gargants, unnamed Gargants. I'll run you through those in a second. I have 3 regiments, in fact, today. And we thought that why not use this opportunity? The new rules just came out. Let's try using some of the new regiments of renown that you can include into your armies. Sons of Behemat can include basically any of the new ones. So I thought I'd give the Karajan Overlords a go. So my first regiment is the Regiment of Renown with the Karajan Overlords. It includes a gun hauler, 3 balloon guys, and then my dirigible suit. And the faction ability for that is that it allows the whole regiment to effectively deep strike somewhere on the table during the game. It has some interaction with artifacts as well, but I know for a fact that Karl hasn't brought any artifacts. He's playing 2 named heroes only, so it's unlikely that that's going to come up. But even though the gun hauler drops in 9 inches away, the balloons can then be 6 inches away to allow for a charge, regardless of whether or not the enemy unit has an artifact. So it gives Gargants a little bit of play when it comes to the back of the table. Right now, they kind of have to hit armies front on. So being able to have a little unit that can drop in behind enemy lines, do battle tactics, take out some key units, or some little chaff units that are trying to hold back objectives, I think they could be a quite nice addition to the Gargants. So let's go through the regiments for the Gargant side of things. My general is going to be King Brodd. He does what he does. He's a bit of a priest. He hits harder than the Gatebreakers with his club, but other than that, he doesn't do a huge amount. He is just hits hard if you roll well. Then I have in his regiment a Gatebreaker, the one with the red hat here. This Gatebreaker has the heroic trait that allows him once per game to have +2 to his attacks characteristic on all of his attack profiles. He also has the artifact which allows him to, it's called Extra Calloused Feet. So when he uses his feet attack in combat, he gets 1 additional attack with with his feet, he gets 1 additional rend, and it's also 1 additional damage. So the combination there is when I use my 2 extra attacks with him, the feet attacks is 5 attacks on, if you're all out attacking, 3s and 2s, rend 4 against infantry, damage D3 +1, so on average damage 3. So that just, in addition to his primary weapon, can be a lot of damage output. So I'm hoping that comes up in the game. So that's my general's regiment. My thought here is that Brodd can be on the front line, and then this Gatebreaker can hand back as kind of a counter charge, and then allow Brodd to give out that -1 attack to anything that's in combat with him, as long as this Gatebreaker stays close. And then my final 3rd regiment is the Gatebreaker on the right here, on his own. He has the glowy lantern, which lets him cast my spell lore, as if he was a wizard. But importantly, he doesn't count as a wizard. So if opponent has things like anti-wizard or something against wizard specifically, it doesn't impact him. He can just allows him to cast the spells as if he were a wizard. So that takes me to my spell lore. So Gargants don't have a spell lore. but they can bring one still. And I've decided to bring the one with the Horrorghast and the bridge, and then Laushon. And then you also have the shards, but I don't have the shards. I'm mainly bringing this for the Horrorghast and the bridge. The bridge is basically a once per game you can retreat and charge with one of your Gargants, which I think is one ability that the Gargants are sorely lacking right now. Because you can set up that bridge, teleport a Gargant that's in combat to the other one, and then set up for a 9-inch charge potentially. Or worst case, they just get out of dodge without having to take any mortal wounds on the retreat, and they can still shoot as well, because the Gatebreaker shooting attacks are pretty relevant. So I think that's pretty much the list there. In terms of the way that I'm planning on playing it, as I said, this regiment of Caradron at the beginning has to start in the sky. So they'll be dropping in, hopefully at the back of the board to do a bit of damage, whilst the Gargants move forward. I'm struggling with Gargants a little bit. I think they're really swingy. The Gatebreakers have this ability where on a 4+, you can do 4d6 mortal wounds. It's like the old Blizzard that we all know and love from the previous edition. But I've never got it off. So we'll see if I get it off in this game. If it goes off, it's fantastic, 4d6 mortals, but unfortunately there's no, if you roll less than a 4, something happens. It just does nothing. So it's incredibly swingy. And that's the same for all the Gargants attacks in general. I know that Be'lakor can put a -1 to hit on my Gargants. That's going to be very painful because they're going to be hitting on 5s then, and I can't really rely on any of their attacks going through. So I think this is mostly going to come down to, can I stand on objectives long enough to score more points than Karl game? We'll see how that goes. In terms of tournament viability, I would say that Gargants are in a real tough spot right now. They aren't very good in general, I think just because of their unreliability. If they were a bit more reliable, maybe if they hit on 3s naturally, or if they could retreat and charge so they couldn't be tagged in combat, I think that would make them feel a little bit better. So I would say that this list, I think realistically, it's a 2-3 list, 2 wins in a tournament, 3 losses. I think you could get lucky. I think that this list ever going 5-0, you would have made every single roll successfully during the entire tournament. So you never know, it could happen. But I think on average, this list probably gets 2 wins and 3 losses in most tournaments, most 2-day tournaments. But stay tuned. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully I spike some rolls. We'll take out some units in the Legion of the First Prince army. I know they just come back, but I can go through them twice. That's fine. And yeah, if you like what we're doing, please feel free to comment on the video, like this video, and I hope you'll enjoy the battle report.